Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started.
Hi folks, we interrupt your regularly scheduled podcast episode to bring you a new episode of The Muppet Show! Yay! Sorry, animal. First up we have Fuzzy Bear! Oh my! Thank you, Kermit! Hiya, hiya! Wait, what?
Yeah, sorry everybody. As much as we'd love to hear a new episode of The Muppet Show, it seems that Preston's going to join us today. So, without any further ado, Preston, take it away.
Wow, thank you. No, please stop. Please sit down. Oh, you've already stopped. Thank you for that wonderful opening. And yes, sorry to interrupt a little bit of the Muppet Show, but I thought, what a better way to start the podcast episode than a lively intro from the Muppet Show. It's kind of the only thing that rallied me today to do the podcast. Just a little quick update. Last time I recorded, I was recording from my floor, and I am not in my floor anymore. I'm on my desk, but had a rough weekend. The feelings that I was losing in my head went down my neck and into my arm and the right side of my body, and I had some real trouble breathing and stuff this last weekend and last week. So been treating that with a lot of stuff. My wife had the day off yesterday, so we did some extra treatments. I've got ozone coming out of every orifice. My wife was kissing me the other day, and she's like, "Oh, it's ozone." And I was like, "Get in the zone, ozone." Or as she says, "Get in the zone, ozone zone." Take whichever one you want and run with it. That's our gift to you. Sorry. But yeah, I figured it's in the morning on Tuesday. We're going to get this out same day because you know what? That's the promise that I made to all of you, is that I'm going to keep getting these podcast episodes out. So this one might be a little late, and I apologize for that, but I'm trying to rally as much as possible and do this consciously, but also be mindful of how I'm feeling. So I kind of used up all my vocal energy with the intro, so you're going to have to bear with me. But I wanted to say today that in, I think, 2 weeks, we are actually coming up upon the 6th season of the Living Artist Podcast. So, yeah, that's pretty amazing. And I can't believe it's happening. Can't believe we've been doing it that long. Sometimes it feels like it's been going on forever, and sometimes it feels like I just started it. A lot has changed in those years with me personally, with my health. But also, with art. I've sold a lot of art in that time, and I've talked to a lot of people. I've interviewed a lot of people. I've touched a lot of people, hopefully, not inappropriately. I've touched a lot of people, auditorily, hopefully. And yeah, I just wanted to start off by saying thank you to everybody who reached out this last week after hearing the podcast episode and sent their well wishes. I did miss the opening at Shockbox, which I really hate to miss again, but I will get back in there one of these days. Heard it was a great opening. James Frost, who I mentioned on the last episode, his painting was in the email newsletter, and I know that stole the show. So if you get a chance, go down to Shockbox in Hermosa Beach and check out the new Intergalactic Open that's going on for 3 weeks at Shockbox. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, in light of the fact that year 6 is almost upon us, I figured I would do a little bit of what have I learned since I started this podcast? What's changed? Like, so much has changed, not just like with my health, declining and falling off a cliff. And, when I first started this, we didn't even have COVID. COVID was just about ready to start and hit us. And man, oh man, it's just so many things have changed in the world. political climate, in just whatever, the cultural zeitgeist. So many things have changed. Art world has changed. When I first started this, we didn't even know about NFTs, and then NFTs exploded, and then NFTs exploded again, or imploded, I should say. And I know there's still people doing NFTs out there, but you don't hear anything about it. For a while, it was the only thing you heard. We had, what was it called? Oh my God, I can't even remember the name of this app now. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to literally pause this episode to look on my phone. That's how much I forgot this app. Clubhouse. You remember Clubhouse? I think it's still going on, but I haven't been on there in years. It was like our lifeline for so long. I remember meeting up with people and having talks and leading talks and doing all this stuff. Oh my God, so much has changed. And so that brings me to lesson number 1 that I've learned since the podcast began. And, we all know this. We all hear it. I've heard it. I know it. But it just really has been cemented when I look back over the past 5 plus years, going into 6. Things change. Man, oh man, things change. And that is something that we can embrace. It can be a good thing, but it's something that we need to have on our radar, because I think we invest a lot in, new trends and new things that come out, new apps that come out, new, like the NFT trend that came out. Oh, this is the most popular color this year. Whatever we're doing, where we invest so much in these things. And I think a lot of times we have a tendency as human beings to jump all in on some of these things and go, this is going to be forever. When in all actuality, it might be a year. It could be 6 months. It could be 2 years. It could be 4 years. But some of these things are not going to last. And, I say get in, get out, get what you need from these things, but don't get too invested. We used to talk about apps like, Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all these things, how you don't really own your audience. I think that's a lesson that I knew back then that I still agree on and double down on. You don't own your audience. And I haven't been on Instagram in 5 or 6 months since my health just declined even more. But it's one of those things where, audience dwindles. Yeah, I know I'm losing followers because it is something that is a little bit fickle to say the least. I mean, you got to keep getting on there. You got to keep, putting out content. And I am all about consistency. And I still double down on that too. That's a lesson that I've learned is stay consistent. And that's something that I completely agree with. But you got to understand that some of the things you're staying consistent on, it's not that they won't pay off. It's just that you need to be aware that some of them might have diminishing returns after a while. So use it for what it is. If it's an app, get in there, use it for what it is, be consistent with it, but know and have the understanding that, this app might fall. It might, go under, the company might go under, they might sell, it might become something else, it might merge with something and become something you don't like anymore. And, you might have to adapt with that. So don't put all your eggs in one basket with that and just use things for what they are. Use the NFT movement. If you were smart, unlike me, I wasn't smart and I wasn't fast enough. I was getting sick at the beginning of that, but I didn't jump on it fast enough. I didn't get in. Like a lot of people got in, made some big money, and then, they got out or they didn't get out and now they're suffering. But, that's another lesson to learn. Use things for what they are. Get in, be consistent with them, but also don't put all your eggs in one basket and know that, you might have to pivot at any time. It's also comforting to know that through all this madness, one of the things that we can always double down on is our work. Being consistent with our work is so important and so powerful. It's the one thing that nobody can take away from you. Yes, your studio can burn down. We've talked about that. Yes, things like that. You can lose your lease or whatever, but nobody can take away the amount of work you've done, the paintings you put out into the world, your creative output, your just creative essence. When you've put stuff out there into the world, it's there. Nobody can take that away from you. And when you put it online or when you have it with a gallery, you're cementing that even more. I've got a lot of my work cataloged on a lot of different art marketplaces. And that's one thing that I have been preaching from the beginning. And it's one thing that I believe is standing the test of time. A lot of people are like, oh, this is a trend. Well, not a trend. Still out there selling. Even in my state right now, I've sold 7 paintings this year through online art marketplaces. And, it keeps me going. It keeps me sustained. I still try to get work out there. So being consistent is very important in some regards, and knowing what to bet on and what to double down on. Now, the other lesson, of course, is you want to hedge your bets always. Maybe you're doing art classes. Maybe you got a little bit of a YouTube channel side hustle going on to make some money. Maybe you've got a local painting class that you teach, or a local sculpting class that you teach, or whatever. Maybe you are, also interning at a gallery, or you are just showing in a lot of different galleries. You're hedging your bets. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket. You're doing a lot of different things. And I think that's important. If I hadn't established that foundation a long time ago, when my health declined, I don't think I would still be here. I don't think I would have had any money to put towards my health. I don't think I would have been able to sustain any sort of career that I've been able to barely scrape by with at home from my studio and from my computer and from the stuff I'm able to put out there. Yes, I want to get back out there and pound the pavement at some time and get out there and do galleries and, do grants and maybe do murals and do whatever I can do in the flesh, right? But I would be nowhere without the work that I've done in the studio, amassing almost 1,100 paintings at this time, and amassing all the cataloging that I've done online and the work I put out there consistently. I would be nowhere without that. So that's another lesson that I think we all can learn. Excuse me. That's another lesson that we all can learn is when all else fails, be consistent with your work, be consistent with your output, and be consistent with the relationships you've made in the art world, whether that's online or in a brick and mortar gallery. That is something that still works and stand the test of time. Okay, so my voice is failing here, but we're going to do one more lesson learned, and then we're going to get out for the week, and I'll see you next week. But what is another lesson that I've learned over the past 5+ years? All right, well, this one is going to be personal and kind of in the same vein, but it's something that everybody can apply to their life, and it can be a cautionary tale. And yes, it is a little bit of a duality, and yes, it is a little bit of a contradiction, but you know what? Here it is. We have to be able to take some of the pressure off of ourselves. I think there's a tendency for a lot of artists, especially trying to make it in the art world and trying to make a living in the art world like I've been doing and been trying to do for over, 20 years now. Been making a living for 10, tried for many, many years and over a decade before that, waited tables, did all that stuff, cut my teeth in the art world. And some of the things that I learned along the way really kept me going and made me the person that I am. But also I learned a lot of kind of type A personality type behaviors, which, you have to just get it done. You handle it. You get it done. You can't rest. There's no rest. There's no rest for the wicked. You got to get your stuff out there, come hell or high water. And yes, that is something that I do with the podcast, and I believe in it. And here comes the contradiction and the duality. I believe in all of the consistency and all of the, the promises that you make. Promises. The promises you make. Like I made a promise to all of you to get this out there, to keep delivering good content to you and to, give you valuable content. So I take that very seriously, and I'm doing my best with all that. And at the same time, I know that type of mentality can seep into the cracks, and it can, be our biggest enemy too. From an inner critic standpoint, it can start to make you feel bad about yourself. It can deplete your energy sources. It can, if you have a chronic illness like I have going on, it can let it in through the cracks and get it to come out because there's no off switch. So we have to kind of temper our consistency with a peace of mind that is self-care, breathing through your work. I've tried to talk about that and incorporate that for many years, and maybe I've done a good job with it, maybe I haven't, but that is something that I tried to do, and something that has become very apparent as I've gotten sick that I need to do an even better job of focusing on. And that is taking care of yourself first, having grace, doing this consciously, giving yourself a little bit of a break, going easy on yourself. You try, you give it your all. As Tony Horton would say, give it your best, forget the rest. And I truly believe in that. You got to give it your best, and then you forget the rest. You're able to be like the duck on the pond who gets agitated and flaps its wings and then calms back down. You put your energy out there. You do your things. You whatever. Online, you're trying to get the output out there. You're cranking it out, and then you're able to just shake it off, let it go, and come back down to a state of homeostasis. That's very important. And that is the lesson that is maybe the most important for me, that kind of ties everything together over the years, over the 5+ years now going on in this podcast, over the pandemic, over the trends that come and go, over the sickness and the health issues, and over just my time in the art world, making my way, making your way in the art world today makes everything you got. No, but making my way through the art world and doing, the best that I can. We can always do it with a little bit more grace, and we can always be a little bit easier on ourselves. So let's leave it at that. Hopefully there was something of value in this episode. And look forward to getting you another episode next week. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope you're taking care of yourselves, taking care of your mental, physical, and emotional health, and taking care of everybody else. We will see you next time on the next episode. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right. That's it. Take it away, Animal.
Adam up.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.